Hello again, everyone. So, today is a day for answering questions, and this next question, someone wanted to know about how do you recognize spirits when you're out and about, and this is based on the video that I created about my encounter earlier this week. So, if you have not ever seen a spirit, you most likely aren't going to recognize a spirit. Okay, let's start there. But two, there are times when you may think something is in the room with you, something is in an environment with you. You see, kind of like out of the corner of your eye, a flicker of something move by. Or you might notice that something is lifting up your covers when you aren't lifting up your covers, and you're like, oh my goodness. You think about a certain person, and all of a sudden, you may have something of theirs in your house and it moves or it falls over or something like that, then that spirit is with you, right? For me, I have what's called familiar spirits, and so when I go places, if there's someone who has transitioned and they are with me because I'm going to meet someone that they need to deliver a message to, I call that a familiar spirit, because when I encounter the people that they want to communicate with, those people automatically think they know me. And it is because that person's spirit is with me. So when that person's spirit is with me, they are connecting to that spirit. And so they feel like they know me, right? So they don't really know me, but they do know that spirit. And that's what was happening when I went to that salon to get my nails done. Both of those individuals thought they knew me because the son was trying to get a message to them. And that was the son's spirit that they were connecting with through me, right? So that's why sometimes, and now that's slightly different from reincarnation, and you've known someone in the past life. Totally different thing. Got to make that clear. Um, but they immediately was like, and they both smiled and they both were happy to see me as if they had known me for, a really long time, right? So therefore, they were happy to see that spirit. They were happy to connect with that spirit. And through our conversation, they realized that, oh, this is about him. I realized it, and they, of course, were like, oh my God, this is amazing, right? Now, I'm going to tell you something that happened to me the other day. I was thinking about Edgar Cayce. And Edgar Cayce was an amazing clairvoyant who lived and predicted a lot of things. And because of his beliefs, he had a certain desire for helping people in a certain way. And so I was in here and I was thinking about him, and I had a chair in the room, and there was something draped across the chair. And when I thought about him, the item on the chair lifted up. So that was my confirmation that that was the person that was in the room communicating with me, right? So that comes to another thing that people say, can spirits move things? Yes. Can spirits touch you? Yes. And I had a whole conversation. I think I should make the other video after this about the other thing of spirits and the attacks and the dreams and stuff like that. But anyway, so you can get those signs and symptoms like that, or all of a sudden you hear a cabinet door slam, right? Because the door was closed and all of a sudden it slams at that moment when you are thinking of this particular entity that has transitioned. Those are messages that are trying to come your way. Now, you can get spirits calling your name, and that's a whole nother thing, right? I grew up in my family, they said if you hear someone calling your name, don't answer, because you don't know what spirit is calling your name, right? Because not every spirit that communicates is for you. There are some spirits that are against you. And I don't like to say good and bad, because that spirit might be working on someone else's behalf and someone else thinks that spirit is good, but in your life, not so much, right? So let's get to the other signs of when spirits are communicating with you. So you turn on the TV, and let's just say you're thinking about your Uncle Robert, because I have an Uncle Robert, and all of a sudden, literally everything you see is Robert, 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 Robert. That's the spirit saying hello, hey, right? And that literally happened to me. My uncle has been gone a very long time now, nearly 20 years, and in the last few months he has come back into my spirit. So I was wondering if someone else in my family was getting ready to transition and if he was coming back to let me know that, or if there was another reason. And I mean, literally, have seen his entire name, and that's what I call, and most people call, signs and synchronicities, right? So I went somewhere and I met a guy, and the guy's name was my uncle's name, right? I was somewhere else and someone was talking and they mentioned someone that they knew, and it was my uncle's name. And it's just like constant, like, and so all of this led up to me having a dream. And in that dream, I got to do something that I never got to do while my uncle was on this side. I got to tell him that I loved him, and that, and to hear him tell me that he loved me too. And that's something that I had been wanting and desiring. I never really took the time to just focus on that, closing the loop with that relationship, because I had so many other things I was focused on and dealing with. And that was a relationship that really, really meant a lot to me. And when he transitioned, and the way that he transitioned, I was not able to get that closure. And since I work with spirits who transition in such a manner to where closure isn't exactly there, um, that tends to be something that was coming back in my own life, right? I'm normally working with other people, right? But so in the midst of all of this year, because this is where my spiritual side of things has transitioned to, I'm dealing more with spirits who are like, I just want to say goodbye. My own uncle, and that relationship that was still not completely closed, had to be closed, right? Which was a beautiful thing for me. I literally woke up and I had tears in my eyes because I was crying at being able to tell him I love him, and for him to say it back, right? So that made me feel good. And I, I told my dad, I was like, I always felt so good that I got a chance to really, tell him that, how I felt about him and how much he meant to me. Um, so those are a few things. Hopefully this information is really helpful for you guys who are out there wanting to understand seeing spirits. And some people can see an actual spirit in the essence of the spirit, walking, like the elements of the hair and the color, and you don't see that for everyone, and sometimes it's only for a particular one. I literally once saw a spirit that was sitting on my sofa, that it was someone who was astro traveling, and I met that person later, and it was them exactly. They weren't a good person, and I was actually being warned about them, but they were astro traveling, and I astro travel, and and it's astral travel is not necessarily bad, but you also have to be careful. Which that's another thing about, you need to protect yourself when people are astral traveling to you. Okay, so this wraps up my little video about seeing spirits, and I'll probably make more because when you guys ask questions, it gives me a chance to answer them. Okay, and that leads to another video. Okay, all right, everyone, have a good day. Have a great week. Do the very best that you can. And as you go about this spiritual journey, remember that you can go through different emotions, and just take it one day at a time. Don't put too much on yourself. All right? Love you. Bye.